SteelWool Studios has taken FNAF in a odd direction, to say the least. They started out strong with a VR title. That VR title basically did what everyone has always begged for in a VR type of FNAF situation, and did it well. I think Help Wanted is a great game, but it had problems, and it still has problems to this day, even after several fixes and patches. It's still broken. There's one minigame that literally is random chance. It doesn't work at all how it's supposed to. So SteelWool has had a track record from the get-go of fucking things up. When Security Breach released, it was a abomination of a game. It was a mess. There was nothing about Security Breach that wasn't broken in an astronomically stupid way. Security Breach was probably the most broken game I have ever played. When I had my playthrough, and I played it when it released, I think I got one of the most broken copies you could have gotten. I fell out of the map several times, I experienced several soft locks, I straight up had to restart twice before I could even finish the game. When I did finish the game, it got corrupted at one point. There were several just general small bugs that ruined the experience. I didn't like the story, I didn't like the presentation, I didn't like what was going on, I didn't like the secrets, I didn't like anything about Security Breach. Even after multiple patches, keyword there being just multiple, not 50 or something, Security Breach is still a broken hot mess, even in its current state, which they claim they're proud of. I don't know how you can be proud of a project when it's like this. It's still buggy, it still has issues, very similar to how Help Wanted is. This was a telltale sign that I don't think SteelWool was the right studio to go with when it came to Five Nights at Freddy's. Secrets of the Mimic, I think, was supposed to be what kind of a saving grace. They fucked up Security Breach. They messed up Help Wanted in small ways and everything. They just didn't have a really great track record. I think Secrets of the Mimic was supposed to be that saving grace, that example that, hey, we can handle this correctly. Now, before that, obviously they released Ruin, and Ruin was an extremely linear, somewhat polished. I mean, MatPat literally skipped an entire section completely by accident, and it broke everything. But it was a fairly polished, and it was an interesting experience, but it was so linear and really rather boring. I mean, nothing really happened, and it was just full of retcons on retcons because they had to undo the bullshittery that they put themselves into with Security Breach. So Ruin to me just felt bad. I'm glad it was free, and I could appreciate what they created, but it was such a far cry from what Security Breach was that I didn't even feel like it was supposed to be part of that game to begin with. And it felt like such a hand-holdy experience of just do this, do this, do this. Take everything about Ruin, and then take everything about like Poppy Playtime, the mascot genre as a whole, and that's Secrets of the Mimic for you. I did not like Secrets of the Mimic. I didn't like the jump scares. I didn't think they were very scary. The game itself, I don't even think is really horrifying in any way. It didn't even feel like FNAF. Most of the time I was playing, I genuinely just felt like I was playing some sort of odd hybrid fan game. I didn't know what it was supposed to be. It was really bizarre. It crashed twice on me. The frame drops were kind of abysmal, and it was very, very filler in its gameplay. There was one section where you have this, spoilers, where you have the Music Man in front of you, and you have to play 3 different carnival games. This just felt like filler to me, because it wasn't fun to do the exact same thing 3 different times. I'm not really sure what the logic behind this was, and what's even more annoying is it's supposed to be like the stealth section where you crouch your way through the mannequins, and if you hit them or get too close to them, it alerts them, and if you can't get in a spotlight, or otherwise he'll kill you, right? All of that's great, except you could just run to the corners or like hug the wall, and he can't get you. So that whole thing is just out the window. It feels dumb. I don't know how this was missed. I don't know why this was missed. I'm a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I played every single game the day it released since Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I was cautiously optimistic about this game, and I feel it has completely failed for what SteelWool should have done. SteelWool, for me, I don't think is the right choice for FNAF. I think they've really failed here. And it's really a shame, because I don't know what this game is supposed to be. I'm sure someone will figure out the lore, as convoluted and as crappy as it's probably going to end up being, just like Security Breach. And there's still plenty of fan bases, and there's still plenty of moments that I do think are really cool. Like, the animations for this game are phenomenal. I gotta give credit that the music is really good, at least when it's there. There's a huge lack of music in this game, and at one point my music was even just straight up broken. It wasn't playing during a chase sequence. I think I was supposed to die.
Tickets, please.
Oh my god. Which, that's the other thing. Mascot horror has been a dying genre, and Five Nights at Freddy's really started it, and, you know, kept it. It was that train that pushed everything else forward. It started falling into its own entrapment of what it was a while back, and I think Security Breach was still kind of a break from that. There wasn't very many, you know, chase sequences that just ended in a death cutscene or something. It was still unique, and it's definitely a unique game and concept. Secrets of the Mimic feels like a fan game. It feels like someone was trying to make something that was resembling FNAF in the mascot horror genre, and that's it. Because that is all it feels like. It feels like I'm playing a weird hybrid between Poppy Playtime, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Gardens of Banban. I don't know what this game is supposed to be. The chase sequences are the entire gameplay. There's filler gameplay in between, and then you have chase sequences. That's it. That's all this game is. Now look, my gameplay was about 6 hours long. I think it was like 6 or 7 hours long. For $40. $40 fucking dollars. That's a lot of money for just 6 to 7 hours of gameplay. I didn't get all the achievements or secrets, but this to me is not worth $40. Security Breach was $40, and that game was fucking huge. It may have only taken about 10 hours to actually beat the game if it wanted any of the secret endings or anything. It took a lot longer, especially if you wanted the collectibles. This game is only going to be like 20 hours long at maximum. It's just not worth it to me, especially with the AI being crappy. By the 2-hour mark into this game, after beating the Music Man section and everything, I truthfully fully wanted to refund it, and honestly, I kind of wish I did. The game is just full of fairly mediocre puzzles that kind of don't make any sense in any way, have really weird clipping issues, and just general clarity issues that I'd never really enjoyed. And on top of that, it's just full of chase sequences that end in a death. Like, it's literally just a generic mascot horror game. This is not Five Nights at Freddy's to me. This is not what I have grown up playing. This just sucks. I don't know how else to put that. I don't know. Okay, so minor spoilers. The ending consists of you running from the Mimic. I mean, that should be expected. It's called Secrets of the Mimic. I don't know what you were thinking. But the whole point of this game is entirely derived from trying to explain a retcon that they made to a retcon that they made to a mistake. That's what the Mimic is. So this whole game is just trying to justify how this fits into the universe, and it feels so out of place. The story of the Mimic and everything, and like why it was created and whatnot, is actually really decent. I do think it's kind of interesting, and the 2 secret endings, at least I think it's technically 2 if you want to count it that way, since there is 1 normal ending, to me they explain it very well. Now, there's only one real scary moment, and that's towards the end. The rest of it's just mediocre. So the gameplay suffers, in my opinion, from trying to explain what your retcon was. But that's really it. It consists of you running from the Mimic at random moments, like he'll randomly possess an animatronic, which is a cool concept in theory. He possesses an animatronic and even says at one point in the game, quote unquote, that it takes that personality of the animatronic that it's possessing. I thought this was going to make its patterns different, or like make its speech recognition, or something about it different when it possessed certain plush stuffed, animatronic suits. I thought that was going to be really cool. But it doesn't. They all act the exact same. It's just a visual change, and I think that's a really lame way to go about it. I really thought they were going to step up their game a little bit. Again, you have a really good idea, really good situation. You even explain something, and then don't follow through with it. I think it's also very clear this game was probably meant to be played in VR. There's a lot of elements, especially with, you know, moving your mouse to actually move a lot of the mechanics, buttons, switches, and especially the cranks. But the concept, I think, was designed for VR specifically. If they release a VR version of this game, I'll be honest, I think it'd be really good. I really can see this being a good VR game, and I think that's initially what it was supposed to be, because nothing about it screams this was supposed to be played on mouse and keyboard. It feels a little clunky, and a lot of the nuanced things, you know, that would be really mediocre on a flat version screen, which is what this game is. I think it's a very mediocre horror game. I think it's just a generic slap in the face for Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, it is not interesting to me. I don't think this is a very special game, at least on mouse and keyboard. If it was a VR title, that really shifts, because doing really nuanced things like turning puzzle elements or, you know, doing a crank and stuff become really fun and really cool because you're in VR, you're interacting with everything. It would also make that 6 to 10 hour experience closer to probably about 12 to 18. It being in VR makes so much more sense to me, and that's really where they thrive. And having to crouch and like hide around things, there's a lot of like blankets and stuff that you could just hide behind. I think this game was meant to be in VR, and if not, dude, I don't know what you guys are doing, because that would have been way better. So with all of this said, and like I said, I don't want to say all the spoilers and everything, I cannot recommend this game. For it being $40 and really not having enough content to suffice for anything, and being really rather repetitive in a lot of its elements, at least on a mouse and keyboard aspect, is just generic, just boring. It's not that cool. There are some interesting moments and there are some pretty fun chases, but it's just not good enough to warrant a $40 price point. So with that being said, I got nothing else to say. I can't recommend the game. I can't. I got a couple more videos coming out here really soon. It's about Celeste, and I'm very proud of that project. This is just a quick video I wanted to get out because originally I wanted to make a gameplay video of this, of me like breaking the game or doing it deathless, or like getting all the achievements in one go. Like, and I wanted to think of some sort of challenge to do, but it runs poorly. It doesn't look fantastic. It doesn't play that well. It's not super. It's very similar to Ruin in my head, where it's not even broken enough to actually be able to do anything with. You know, it's a shame. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm just, you know, satirical. Maybe I can't see past it, but most of the positive reviews that I can see on Steam, and I'll probably show a couple here, are just kind of glazing SteelWool. Like, oh, this is the best SteelWool game that I've played. Oh, the AI is so good for SteelWool standards. Oh, this game is so polished for SteelWool. Guys, as an actual product, it's not just based off of what that company has made. For a SteelWool product, yeah, this is actually pretty damn good. But is it actually good? No, because I don't think SteelWool is capable of making good quality. So we need to be more objective about this, rather than, you know, oh, subjective. It's SteelWool, so SteelWool gets a little bit of a pass. No, it's just mascot horror. It's. I think I've seen scarier stuff in Poppy Playtime as of recent. Like, this is just bad. Subscribe. I've got a Celeste video coming out pretty soon, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, let me know what you guys think. Maybe it's just me.